Welcome to Simply Explained English. I am Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Do you want to improve your English easily? If so, you're in the right place.
Okay, today we'll listen to a podcast about most unusual laws around the world.
Remember, you can get the free transcript file in the description section.
Let's listen to it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. I am Mark and my friend Rosa is with me. Today we have a really fun topic. Rosa, do you want to tell them what we are talking about?
Of course, Mark. Today we are talking about the most unusual laws around the world. Strange and funny laws are still in effect in some countries. It always surprises me what types of laws people make.
Me too, Rosa. Some laws sound strange, but they actually exist. Do you want to start with the first one, Rosa?
Sure, Mark. The first one is from Switzerland. Did you know it's illegal to flush the toilet after 10 p.m. in an apartment building? The law is to keep things quiet at night.
Imagine having to be so quiet you can't even flush the toilet. I guess Switzerland really cares about sleep.
Absolutely, Mark. It's funny but also makes sense. I have another one. In Italy, there's a law that says you must walk your dog every day or get a fine. It's to keep pets healthy.
I love that. It shows they care about animals. Speaking of strange rules in Victoria, Australia, it's illegal to change a light bulb without a licensed electrician.
What? That's so unusual, but I guess it's for safety reasons.
Yes, exactly. It does sound extreme, but it makes sense for safety.
I have another funny one. In France, it's illegal to name a pig Napoleon. It's to show respect for their leader, Napoleon Bonaparte. It's funny to think of someone naming a pig that.
Haha, they take history seriously. Here's another interesting one. In Samoa, it's illegal to forget your wife's birthday. This law might be to keep husbands thoughtful. If you forget, you could be in hot water.
Forgetful husbands must brush up on their memory skills and set reminders everywhere. I wonder if anyone actually got punished for this.
Me too, Rosa. Okay, another one. Arizona, USA. You cannot let a donkey sleep in a bathtub.
Why would a donkey be in a bathtub?
Back in the 1920s, a flood washed away a donkey sleeping in a bathtub. It was hard to rescue, so they made a law to prevent it from happening again.
What a strange story. It's amazing how one event can lead to a law. Okay, I have another one from Japan. In some cities, it's illegal to be overweight. They have rules about your waist size.
Really? I think it's to help people stay healthy, right?
Yes, it's called the Metabo Law. To promote health, it's strict, but helps prevent obesity.
That's true. And in Singapore, chewing gum is mostly illegal. They made this law to keep streets clean because people were sticking gum everywhere.
Wow, that's strict, but I get it. No one likes stepping on gum.
Definitely. Clean streets are important. One more law I think you'll find funny. In Canada, you cannot pay for something with too many coins. For example, you can't pay for something expensive using only pennies.
I guess it's to stop people from making things hard for shopkeepers.
Exactly. Can you imagine paying for a car with bags of coins?
Haha, that would be crazy. These laws are so fun to learn about. Some might sound strange, but they all have a reason.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that every country has its own culture. I hope our listeners enjoyed these unusual laws.
Yes, I hope so too. If any listeners know other strange laws, let us know.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Remember, the world is full of surprises. Stay curious, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, everyone.
Oh, it was hilarious. I can't believe some of those laws actually exist. I mean, a donkey in a bathtub? Unbelievable.
It sounds like something out of a cartoon. And the one in Samoa about forgetting your wife's birthday? That one really made me laugh.
Definitely. I think we should look up more strange laws and maybe share them with Mark and Rosa. Who knows? Maybe they'll mention them in their next episode.
Great idea, Lisa.
I'm sure of it. Let's go. What are the words today, Eric?
The first word today is flood. Then we will continue with to be in effect. And to prevent, then brush up on. And the final one is to be in hot water.
Let's start with the first word.
The first word is flood.
Flood.
Now, let's see how this word is used in the podcast.
Back in the 1920s, a flood washed away a donkey sleeping in a bathtub.
Flood is a noun and also a verb. As a noun, it means when there is too much water in an area, usually because of heavy rain or a river overflowing. For example, a flood can happen in a town and cover the streets in water.
And as a verb, it means to fill or cover an area with water. For example, the heavy rain flooded the basement, which means the rain caused water to fill the basement.
Exactly. Let's look at an example sentence. As a noun, after the storm, there was a flood in the village and people had to leave their homes. This means the village was full of water and it wasn't safe to stay there.
And as a verb, the river flooded the nearby park after the snow melted. This means the water from the river covered the park because of too much water.
Now, here's a quick grammar tip. The word flood is usually used with the preposition in when it's a noun. For example, there was a flood in the city. When it's a verb, we often use it with a direct object like the rain flooded the streets.
Eric, is flood more formal or informal?
It's neutral, so you can use it in any situation. It's a very common word, especially when talking about weather or natural disasters. And here's a friendly reminder. Floods can happen quickly, so it's important to be prepared if you live in a place where floods happen often.
Okay, well, I think now our followers understand the word flood better. Shall we move on to the next word?
Let's do that. The next word is to be in effect.
To be in effect.
Now, let's listen to the word in the podcast.
Strange and funny laws are still in effect in some countries.
The phrase to be in effect means that a rule, law, or agreement is active and being used. For example, if a new rule starts today, we can say the rule is in effect. It's like saying everybody starts to follow the rules today.
Oh, I see. So, if the mask rule begins at 8 p.m., we can say, the mask rule is in effect from 8 p.m.
That's right, Lisa. Here's an easy example. The new school rules are in effect starting Monday. This means the new rules will begin and people must follow them on Monday.
Another example is, the parking limits are in effect on weekends. This means the parking limits are active during the weekend and people must follow them.
Exactly. Now, here's something useful to remember. It's mostly formal because we use it in professional or official settings, like talking about laws, contracts, or rules. But you might also hear it in news reports or public announcements.
Got it. So, this phrase is useful when we talk about rules or policies.
Exactly. It's a great phrase to know if you want to sound clear and professional.
Okay, well, I think we explained, in effect, pretty well. Let's move on to the next word.
The next word is to prevent.
To prevent.
Now, let's see how this word is used in the podcast.
Back in the 1920s, it was hard to rescue the donkey, so they made a law to prevent it from happening again.
To prevent is a verb. It means to stop something from happening or to stop someone from doing something.
So, it's about taking action before a problem happens, isn't it?
It's correct, Lisa. For example, if you lock your door at night, you are trying to prevent someone from entering your house.
That makes sense. Another example is when you wash your hands often to prevent getting sick. You are stopping germs from making you ill.
Now, let's talk about grammar. After prevent, we often use the structure prevent something from happening. For example, the police tried to prevent him from leaving. Did you notice the word from? It's very common with prevent.
Oh, so it's like a little formula. Prevent plus someone or something plus from plus verbing.
Exactly, Lisa. And remember, we can also use it without from in some cases. For example, the security system is designed to prevent theft. Or, I always wear sunscreen to prevent sunburn. This means wearing sunscreen stops or protects me from getting sunburned.
And I can say, wearing sunscreen can prevent sunburn.
Perfect. Now, let's talk about how formal this word is. Prevent is neither too formal nor too casual, so you can use it in many situations.
Thanks. So, Eric, can we use synonyms for prevent?
Good question. Yes, you can use words like stop or avoid in some cases, but be careful. Stop usually means something has already started, while prevent happens before it begins.
Ah, that's a key difference. I might say, the rain stopped me from going outside, but I brought an umbrella to prevent getting wet.
Yes, it's completely correct.
Okay, well, I think now our followers understand the phrase to prevent better. Let's move on to our next phrase.
Let's do that. The next phrase is brush up on.
Brush up on.
Now, let's hear how it is used in the podcast.
Forgetful husbands must brush up on their memory skills and set reminders everywhere.
Brush up on is a phrasal verb. It means to improve your knowledge or skill in something you already know, usually by practicing or reviewing. For example, if you haven't spoken English in a while, you might brush up on your English before a big trip.
That's a great way to explain it. Another example could be, if you're going to take a math test, you might brush up on your algebra skills to feel more confident.
Exactly. Here's a simple example. I need to brush up on my French before visiting Paris. This means I want to practice or review French to get better at it.
And another example. She brushed up on her driving skills before her driving test. This means she practiced driving to make sure she was ready for the test.
Let's talk about grammar. After brush up on, we always use a noun or pronoun to say what skill or knowledge we are improving. For example, brush up on history, brush up on it, or brush up on Spanish.
That's helpful. Is brush up on formal or informal?
It's informal but very common in everyday conversations. You wouldn't usually see it in formal writing, but it's perfect for casual speech.
Good to know.
Here's a friendly reminder. Brush up on is commonly used for things like languages, math, or other skills people might need to refresh.
Okay. Well, that's all for the word brush up on. Let's move on to the last word today.
The last word is to be in hot water.
To be in hot water.
Now, let's hear how it's used in the podcast.
This law might be to keep husbands thoughtful. If you forget, you could be in hot water.
To be in hot water is an idiom. It means that someone is in trouble, usually because they've done something wrong or made a mistake.
Oh no. So, if I'm in hot water, I have a problem?
Exactly. Let's say your boss asked you to send an important email, but you forgot. Now your boss is upset. You can say, I'm in hot water with my boss.
Oh, that's not good. But it's a very clear example. How about this? If you don't do your homework, you'll be in hot water with your teacher.
Perfect. Let's try a fun practice for our listeners. Imagine this situation. You accidentally broke your friend's favorite mug. What would you say?
You could say, uh-oh, I think I'm in hot water with my friend.
Exactly. It's very flexible. You can also add with someone to show who is upset. For example, he's in hot water with his parents for staying out too late.
So, is this idiom formal or informal, Eric?
To be in hot water is mostly informal. You might hear it in conversations, TV shows, or casual writing, but not often in formal emails or reports.
So, I wouldn't say, Our company is in hot water with the government in a formal presentation.
Exactly. In formal situations, you could say something like, our company is facing difficulties with the government.
Perfect. Listeners, if you make a small mistake, don't worry. You're not in hot water with us.
Totally, Lisa.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Simply Explained English. We hope you found the words helpful and the explanations easy to understand.
Thanks for listening. Keep studying your English.
And stay tuned. Bye for now.